Welcome to the Big Mike Fun Podcast, where you'll learn about advanced wealth building strategies from real estate investing to creating massive ROI and secured retirement profits. So pour yourself a cup of coffee, grab a notepad, and lean in, because Big Mike has got the mic, starting now.
Welcome to the Big Mike Fun Podcast. I'm the Big Mike Zlotnik, and today it is my pleasure and a privilege to welcome Phillip Vincent. Hi, Phillip.
Hi, Mike. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great. Glad to be here.
Thank you for joining. Phillip is a founder of the Mom's House. It's a senior living business, right? But before we jump into that, let's talk a little bit about Phillip. He hails from St. Louis. Just talk a little bit about Phillip, your family. I like to call it wife, kids, cats, pets, all that stuff.
Sure. I've got two young boys. I'm married for the past 10 years. I have two young boys, and we're getting to that point in life where they're 6 and 8. So we're becoming that family that all we do is sports, taking your kids to sports, getting your kids from sports. We're moving into that part of our life. And so my day job is real estate, single family real estate. And today we're going to learn how the senior living industry feeds my leads of houses I buy for single family. And so I'm excited to share that with you guys. My journey started out of laziness, and you'll be excited to hear it's I don't like working bad leads. In fact, I vehemently hate working bad leads. And so my goal was always to try to find the source of the best leads. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
That's really cool. So let's dive into that. Again, I got, married 21 years, 4 kids and a cat. I know the drill. It's especially when the kids are small, you have to be there. You have to be there for your kids actually forever. It's the one thing that you sign up for. It's a lifetime commitment. So, but
well worth it, right, Mike? I mean, the kids are the future, and it's like I look at being a parent as they're like bottle rockets. Like we have them at we can, you know what I mean? They're ours for a very short time. They grow up so fast, and then you push them out to the world and make them be good people. So it's fun that every time you spend time with them, you're making them better for their future life. So it's well worth it.
Yeah. I know the dream. My oldest is 21. At this point, she's on her own. So yeah, the time flies. When they're small, you'll treasure the time, because before you know, blink and boom, they're gone.
Totally agree, Mike. I try to do that every day.
So that's great. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the lead generation process. So first, tell us a little bit about the Mom's House, the senior living. What is that business? What do you do there? And we'll from there we'll go a little bit into lead generation.
Sure. What is the business, right? It's called Mom's House for a reason. If Mike and Phillip are brothers, and we find out today that Mom's moving into senior living, we start to scramble very quickly on, is Mom going to live by you, Mike? Is she going to live by me? Is she going to live by where she lives now? What level of care does Mom need? We start to go out and we build resources that help us, give us information, because the most important thing is, where is Mom going to get the best care? And immediately that's the flashpoint of the family also saying, how the heck are we going to pay for this care that's very, very expensive? And that's where they go, we need to sell the house, and what are we going to do with this stuff? And so Mom's House was born out of trying to find people at that flashpoint. If you think about a lot of people, they send direct mail. See if this sounds familiar to the listeners. In direct mail, they mail to people over the age of 65 that have lived in the house at least 20 years and have a lot of equity. Why do they do that? It's because they're hoping and dreaming that they're the exact moment of what I'm talking about here. My leads are at the flashpoint without having to have, direct mail is only as good as long as you leave the machine on. You have to mail them and mail them and mail them, and it's spray and pray, waiting for that perfect moment. With my leads, they're literally raising their hand saying, now is the right moment.
Right. So you find them when that event happens, and unfortunately, Mom can no longer stay in the house, and exactly you got to sell the house. And at that time, you want to catch the lead because they have substantial motivation.
Yes, sir. That's the number one thing. It's true need to sell versus want to sell. The family is scrambling to make good decisions in that moment, and they're truly trying to figure out, where's Mom going to get the best care, and that transfer of trust. So it's hard. I call her daughter Judy. Daughter Judy's the one that's still near Mom, the one taking her to the doctor's appointments, getting her life, from that forever home into the community. That transition is very difficult. There's a lot of burden on daughter Judy, and the last straw a lot of times is when the realtor comes in and says, hey, I need you to clean this place out. I need you to do this list of updates before we list it. And so that's the family's like, no, wait a second, I don't even live in town. I live 400 miles away. I'm not going to do this. And so sometimes it's funny that people say, well, Phil, that's a good little niche that you have. And I always smile because it's not little at all. It's 7 out of 10 Americans over the age of 65 are going to live in some sort of assisted care before they pass away. And so that's a big, big number, Mike, not a little number.
Yeah, this is, how should I put it? It is a unique niche from the point of view that you're solving an immediate need and an urgent need for the cash. Unless mom has saved a lot of money and can pay for long-term care, the house becomes one of the most valuable assets that need to be sold to generate the cash needed to take care of mom's senior living expenses. So do you do anything with senior living itself, or you pretty much just market to folks that are in that position, and you generate leads for for an investor to come in and make an offer on the house?
Great question. And I want to make sure we clearly differentiate what I do and what the question was there. I do not own and operate senior living communities. I augment those communities because every time here's $100,000 sentence that you guys can write down, maybe $1 million sentence. I ask the question, do you ever have a situation where they want to move mom in, but they can't until they get the house sold? And it's usually met with a laugh because they're like, Phil, every day, that's what I do here. And I'm like, I know. Are you working with anybody like that right now? In 2 sentences, I just asked for the sale without even saying I'm a realtor or an investor. And so that's the thing that you need to know about the senior living world is that the investor, when you say the word, in our circles, we love the word investor, but in the senior living world, all they hear is the word shark in front of that word investor.
Vulture. Let's hear
vulture. Vulture, shark, not negative, right? Guess what? It's even worse when you say you're a realtor. And I know half your audience goes, oh, I'm a realtor. Well, so I am too, but listen to me here. That's how they've been fixing this problem for the past 30 years. When somebody meets a realtor, their brain shuts off. They know what a realtor is. They know what a mortgage person is. They know what a financial planner is. It's nothing new. But what we're doing is we're positioning our investors nationwide to be a solution for the senior living problem of needing to get that house to liquid cash as quickly as possible so mom can worry about her best care, not who's going to rehab the house.
Yeah, I got you. I already like it. I mean, it's a pretty brilliant idea. So your business is to approach senior living, I guess, owners, operators, and offer the service to them when they get customers who want to afford it, but they can't because there is no cash. And you're just looking for that introduction to help them get there, right?
Yeah, and the communities, Mike, is one of the 15 different job titles. So that's just one of 15. There's about 15 vendors that are in the senior living world that are having that tough conversation with that family. And I teach investors who to find, where to find them, what to say, more importantly, what not to say, and how to work with them.
So do you have educational program, or you have you sell leads?
Yes and yes is the answer. We don't allow it. We have education, and then we decide if we're going to work with them. The problem that we have is that I can't let everyone in, Mike. I truly have to care about who comes into my program because a lot of investors are too transactional. They don't have enough love in their hearts. They want to meet, and they're boom, boom, boom with what we do. With Mike, we say we're in the hugs and kisses business. And if you can't get with that program, then you're just not right for mom's house. And that's okay with us. We're looking for the right investors. If we just wanted a warm body in every city, we could have done that 2 years ago in a week. If you just wanted, a quote unquote investor, I truly spend this 3 days sympathy, empathy training for the investor world. I'll give you the analogy that we use: the crock pot and the vase. The investor world is full of crock pots, and the senior living world is full of vases. And you can't mix the two together unless you know what you're doing. And investors will come in unknowingly thinking they're doing it right and put their foot in their mouth without even knowing what they're doing. And they're going to blacklist themselves. And by the way, I learned this the hard way. In 2011, I had to learn all of this the hard way. I have a big personality. I was a crock pot. I had to learn how to mold myself into what that industry needed.
Yeah, it makes total sense. You absolutely want to pick and choose people you're working with, because it needs that compassionate and empathetic approach to because it is a difficult situation with for the family to deal with, and without that approach, it becomes yeah, it's a mismatch of talents, and you could easily destroy a relationship with a couple of wrong words. So
Yeah.
makes total sense. I
Thank
actually
you, Mike.
I like it. I have a partner who does business in Jacksonville, Florida. I don't know if you have anybody over there, but I'd be interested to have a follow-up conversation. Not
I
related.
appreciate that. It's a great honor to go on these podcasts and realize that you guys want to do it too, because you see, and guess what else? What I do is not trendy. We've got a 20-year run in front of us right now that's getting ready to happen. It's happening daily right now. All these boomers, we have a 20-year run in front of us. So it's not trendy. This is not going away. This is not this new flash in the pan. This is not text message blasting and all this horrible stuff that I think is just spam that's out there. This is truly, I think it's the American dream, Mike. It's helping a lot of people and making a lot of money. I mean,
Yeah,
makes
makes a lot of sense. So let's have a follow-up conversation specifically about Jacksonville market and that, but we'll do it outside of the podcast.
Yes, sir. I'll be happy to.
Yeah, I like this approach. It's a great lead generation if you can establish these relationships with these senior living facilities. I mean, the other thing that comes to mind, that would be a terrible thing, obviously, when the mom passes and it's a funeral home conversation. There's some
Mike,
connection there. Unfortunately, both create sources. Hopefully, mom will stay in a senior living for a while, but that conversation is an entry point, and the other one is it's too late to that point, unfortunately.
Well, and to go along with what you're saying, you're talking about probate, right? Probate is a big lead source in in real estate. People love probate. Are probably my second favorite leads, and let me give you the fundamental difference in probate and the industry. By the way, I started calling what I do is pre-probate. I didn't name it that, but they call it that. Probate. If Mike and Phillip are brothers and mom's passed away, you and I are going to fight for every dollar because it's our inheritance. Right. It was when mom moves into senior living, whether they get 92 grand or 88 grand or 96 grand for the house, it almost doesn't matter because that money is going to sit in an account and it's going to get chiseled away each month until it's gone, and then Medicaid kicks in. So the family's goal is not, we can't sell it for 92, we have to get 96. Well, okay, that extra $4,000, what did that really do for the family? It actually did nothing for them. They're really looking for someone they can trust in that time to do what they say. And once again, why I can't let everyone in mom's house is because there's a lot of people in the industry that don't do what they say. All I want people to do is do what they say, Mike. And it's a hard thing for our industry to do. And so that filter we put through there to go through that 3 days of training is to find the people with the right heart condition that know if they put daughter Judy first, if they really listen to what I'm teaching and implement it, that they can have a lead source that comes to them from now on. And so you talked about knowing how to build those relationships, right? I don't know the true lifetime value of my relationships yet because I'm still doing deals with them to this day. So people in 2011 that I started working with, I'm still doing deals with them today. So his and her relationships are, the lifetime value of it is still going. This is so much different than a one and done direct mail where you're only as good as your last drop. I used to live that life. I know that life. I have a business now that comes directly to me. And I want to show your listeners how to do that in your own areas, like Jacksonville.
Yeah, makes sense. It is what you're doing is a slow, steady, but long-term relationship building and taking the right care of the people and solving a real problem, and at the same time not being in a fast lane, but more of being a long-term business builder. So it makes a lot of sense to me, of course, and this is almost irrelevant. Is the market going up, market going down, whatever's happening, this happens. And you're right, baby boomers are getting older, and that wave continues to take place. So it makes a ton of sense to build these relationships with the I'm trying to remember, but I've seen this concept in the past before. I never really thought too much about it. That was a cool idea. I don't know if it was I've seen the mom's house or something very similar, but the concept does make sense, and it does take substantial training, and it takes the right type of personality to do this. This cannot be traded like a commodity. This needs to be a compassionate business. Sure.
Yeah. And the name Mom's House came about because even if dad is the one that's still alive, we always lovingly refer, what are we going to do with Mom's house? It's like the one that ruled the roost. And, she was, she was the one that run the house. And so Mom's house is what the industry calls the house. It's what are we going to do with Mom's house? So momshouse.com, it's a great domain. It's easy to remember. And it comes out of love is how that came about.
And I assume that's the best point for people to reach you, momshouse.com, right?
Not a bad way to go. I think a little more direct with your listeners would be momshouse.com/3day. And it just talked about our training a little bit. If they go through the Mom's House, that's fine. But I'm just saying a more direct way to do that training that we do.
Makes sense. So talk a little bit about the training.
Yeah.
So what do you do in the training? You teach people how to approach the senior living owners, operators, how to build a rapport?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think when people hear me, they think I walk in the front door and I put out my hand and I say, I'm Phillip and I'm an investor and I buy houses from people moving into nursing homes. And I always laugh because I said like 3 things wrong in that sentence that you should never say. I'm not a cold caller. I don't walk in unannounced. I don't walk in with appointments. I teach people there's about 15 different job titles, not just the proprietor. That's one of the 15, but there's 15 different job titles of people that have the ear of the family. And each one of them are different. Let me give you the best example I can. A social worker, underpaid, overworked, love. A proprietor, money, money, money. Those 2 humans are both on my list, but they couldn't be further away from each other on the spectrum of just who they are as people, right? You can't have the same elevator pitch for both people. So all 15 job titles that I teach people about, each one of them, we go very deep in the 3 days into the psyche of that person because everyone cares about what's in it for them. And so I teach you who to talk to, what to say, what not to say, how to position yourself, where to find them. Here's a question if I was listening to this right now. Great, Phil. That sounds like a great thing. How long is it going to take for me to have traction, right? That's what everyone asks me. In the beginning, Mike, in 2011, I was working about 3 to 5 hours a week networking. 3 to 5. So I'm not even giving people a full-time job here. Some go-getters might do more than 5 hours a week of networking. Some might do less. Everyone's different. The cool thing about what I do is I have this saying, it's that 20 is plenty. And what I mean by that is if just 20 people in Jacksonville know your partner down there, Mike, you guys could do 20 to 40 deals a year with no cost. That's a bold statement, right? 20 to 40 deals in Jacksonville with just 20 relationships at no cost. And they're the best leads in the industry. So this is worth your listeners' time to commit to this because it's not just a one and done deal. This is a building relationship that continues from now on.
Wow, that's really powerful. I agree with you. If you build great relationships and you maintain them over time, they send you referrals, they send you leads. So makes a lot of sense. So how often do you run these trainings? So if people are interested, do they sign up? You run them every month, every few weeks,
Yeah, we're to the point we're growing so much that we're doing them about once every 33 days. So basically once a month. And they're growing each month. We're building a learning center right now. It's kind of exciting times here, Mike. We're custom building our learning center.
Where in St. Louis?
In St. Louis, in a town called Chesterfield, where I live, and building a learning center to really show. People are blown away with how big this opportunity is. It's like, I think it's like hiding in plain sight kind of a deal. It's obvious that that's the moment they sell the house. But I've been doing this for 10 years, right? So to me, it's like, it's been obvious, but now I'm telling the whole world about it. So I love it when you give me those kind words that this is, I don't know if you said genius or brilliant. I think you said brilliant. Yeah, it is. It was so brilliant that I was in 2011, back in 2014, I was on Bigger Pockets podcast. I didn't say a word about this because I didn't want anyone else to do it. That's how powerful it was. And now here we are with this nationwide company. Now I'm telling everyone. So it's the time is now. And I feel like the saying that I heard, which I like, is that all of us are going to work in senior living, whether we want to or not. So you might as well embrace it and get in front of these leads. And so that's probably a bold statement, but I think it's worth saying.
Well, it makes a lot of sense for folks who operate in this industry. The amount of the leads and you talked about this, these postcards and these letters, they're just a ton of waste there, and people are trying to call and cold call and text, and a lot of, I call them unwelcome, difficult marketing, and a lot of smart guys still doing it. That maybe the numbers work, but it's heavy lifting, and it's really transactional, like you said. It's really not relationship building. You're not investing for long term. You're just trying to catch the next motivated situation, and quite often it's expensive and it's difficult, and you have no call them, like you said, unless you keep sending these letters, you just will not going to catch a referral there. So I absolutely makes sense. So again, we're kind of short on time. So besides Mom's House seminars and some joint ventures that you do, any other thoughts, comments, or this is you? I mean, this is what you do day in and day out, and people just go to the momshouse.com and reach, and that's schedule time for the next event. Any other thoughts, comments, parting?
Yeah, you said something earlier that I thought was really profound. Is that even when the market shifts, it gets more important. Right now, people have more options than they've had in the past. But that's going to change. Like, I've been doing this 23 years, so I've been through the cycles, and so we become more valuable as the market shifts. So I really think it's a future-proof way to do this business. What we do as investors becomes more valuable when the market turns, when they don't have a retail option to go to, and so it works now and it works in bad markets. So this is worth our time and attention to devote to it.
Yeah, and I mean the value of a qualified lead, is incredibly higher than trying to source a lead, and you're sourcing it straight from the maybe even a trusted party, like you said, social worker or somebody else where there is a rapport. So it breaks the ice, which is incredibly important. That's the biggest thing in this industry. How do you establish trust? And establishing trust is hard, and if you can do that through this technique, you could get there a lot faster and better. Appreciate your time and wisdom. Again, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you? Do you prefer to go to the website, or is there another way?
Yeah, momshouse.com/3day, the number 3day or momshouse.com/3day.
Thank you, Philip. It was very enlightening and educational, and hopefully folks will reach out and learn a little bit about your program, and let's chat offline. I'm interested to connect you with my partner in Jacksonville and have a conversation and see what take it from there.
I'd be honored to. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you, Philip. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Big Mike Fund Podcast. To receive your copy of Mike's How to Choose a Smart Real Estate Fund book, head to BigMikeFund.com or visit Amazon and type Mike's slot name. Keep listening and keep investing Big Mike style. See you on the next episode.